Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to our live of the week. My name is Chetha. For those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Una's daughter. I'm 17 years old, and I am the head of the EntreMD merch division. That's entremd.com/merch. And there's a QR code on the screen, so you can scan it and you can get your merch today. But today, I am with a very amazing doctor, and we're going to talk about a lot of things and we're going to have fun. So, how about you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi. Good morning, Chetha. Dr. Tina Sagosho here, all the way from Merced, California. And I am an OBGYN, and I've been in practice for almost 19 years.
Right, wow. That's
Yeah,
a lot. That's a lot of
it's a
years.
long time.
Yeah, older than me. That's okay. Okay. So, just to get started, could you share, what your business is, how you started it, why you started? No, you just your story in general. Let's just share the story.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I started here in Merced in the summer of 2009. My husband and I moved our family out here to be closer to his family. And I was given an opportunity to start a solo private practice in this area. And I went ahead and went full force. And I've been in private solo practice since 2009.
Wow.
Um, the majority of my practice had been traditional insurance-based care up until 2022. And I had practiced general obstetrics and gynecology, delivered lots of babies here in this town,
Nice.
and really had an opportunity to develop the practice for all that length of time. However, like most doctors, we get a little, discouraged, disgruntled, frustrated. We want to continue practicing the way we want to in terms of our mission and the style of
Mhm.
practice. However, the traditional approach to medicine with insurance-based care just wasn't cutting it for me. And so by 2022, I decided to go direct patient care, cash pay, and also attempted to try and expand my OBGYN practice into including medical aesthetics. So 2022 was a big year for me to make all those changes, and I have thankfully remained solo in practice in direct patient care since 2022, and that has been successful. And I'm very happy to have that independence and that choice to do so. I have since retired from obstetrics. I did my very last delivery in September of 2024,
Oh,
and now focusing the majority of my practice on midlife women's healthcare, perimenopause, menopause. I have shied away from medical aesthetics and only do a little bit of it where it makes sense for my practice. So I've kind of come around full circle in these 18 plus years, trying a little bit of everything. But what I really found was that I really valued my autonomy and my independence as a solo practitioner, and even more so when I stepped out of traditional based care about 3.5 years ago. That level of financial independence has been much more rewarding and satisfying, and a lot of that has to do with having found your mother's program, EBS EntreMD, in March of 2024. So a lot of good things have happened in the last few years, and that one especially was very impactful for me.
that's good. That's really good. So, what has, becoming an entrepreneur made possible for you, compared to before you started your
Sure.
business to now?
Yes, I think the change in mindset to becoming and regarding myself as an entrepreneur has certainly opened up a lot more doors, opportunities, professional opportunities that I never thought were possible as a
Yeah.
traditional, physician. We come out of medical school, we come out of residency, and we're kind of led to believe like this is the way you do it. You go
Mhm.
into a practice, you work for somebody, or you do something that is fairly traditional by the book. And back in my my time, the I there was never really an idea to consider ourselves as entrepreneurs. And so, that has been something that I've really learned in the last year, especially, that the possibilities certainly become much more when we
Mhm.
think like an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that has really opened up my world. And even like an old fart like myself, after 18 years in practice, one can still learn new things. And that's exciting to me. I almost felt like I was at the end of my rope, a few years back when I made the decision to go direct patient care, to know and feel that those possibilities are available to me if I want them. And the
Mhm.
mindset now is to just go after what I think is, certainly possible for me. So it's
That's
exciting
good.
to think like that. Yeah.
That's really good. It's good. Okay, so then you mentioned my mother's program, so the business school. So I want to know all about that. How long have you been in it? How did you find out about it? Why did you join? What motivated you to join the school, et cetera, all of those things.
Yes, and Cheta, it is such a fun story to tell because, I'm a firm believer things happen for a reason. And
Mhm.
it just so happened that my husband, who's also a physician, was scrolling, and, as we do, most evenings, and came across your mother's post about the revenue booster that was a 7 day complimentary program.
Mhm.
And he knew I was just kind of lost. And this was March of 2024. So it was about 2.5 years in, trying the direct patient care route, feeling a lot of frustration, not being business minded by any means. We're not really business minded folks when we come out of medical school and residency.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I was not in a great financial or professional space at that time. So my husband was, just searching, came across this, and he says, "Let's do it. It's free. We can learn a few things." That was the hook. We did the program. We both did it, and he is an independent contractor. So for him, he's not in any kind of business type entity yet.
Mhm.
So at the time, he said, after the program was done, he said, "This is for you. You need to do this.
Wow.
We need to explore this." So with his support, financial support as well, uh, he I we joined I joined the program, and that was March. And so by April, I already had the opportunity to fly out to Atlanta for the first live that your mom had done
Okay.
back last year. And
Mhm.
again, talk about a hook, line, and sinker. The live was really what gave me that affirmation that I made the right choice to join the program. So because the first month I was feeling a little lost, it's a very
Mhm.
overwhelming introduction. I had a
Yeah.
really nice short interview with your mom, one on one, that really just was very touching for me, and she really gave me space to just again tell my story and
Mhm.
see where I wanted to go with the program. And then after that live, it just was really an affirmation that I made the right decision to do this, and I realized that it had, I mean, for starters, it opens 1,000+ doors uh, as far as the professional community is concerned. I
Mhm.
mean, just having met so many inspiring other physicians in this program, from all over, and all different specialties. I mean, I never in a million years would have thought I could ever meet so many physicians in one spot, much less converse with them, talk to them, have them
Mhm.
share ideas, having them be so supportive for someone that didn't even know that well. So the community itself was a big draw. And as I started participating more in the program, the weekly sessions, the CEO power hours, my comfort level got definitely uh, higher and better. And I started to really learn how to lean into the community a little bit more. But it took a few months to really kind of get there. I mean, I think most of us that start this, maybe I should just speak for myself, but most of us start this thinking, "Oh my God, I don't have a seat at this table. These are all
Mhm.
superstar
Yeah.
people that are doing amazing things. And I'm crawling into this program on my hands and knees thinking, I need help. And what am I going to offer other
Mhm.
people? But that certainly wasn't the case after several months of being in the program and realizing that that was not this community. Um, I think another huge impact the program has given me in the last year was the learning materials, the books that are recommended to read every month, the discussion around the concepts and the principles. You know, those are things that, again, I never would have imagined myself to learn on my own, much less after 18 years of being in practice, that I could still learn new things. I
Mhm.
could learn how to do things differently, and perhaps I could actually learn how to do things better. So that the resources alone have been tremendously impactful, and you know, that is something I've really come to appreciate about the program as well. Your mom, of course, is a huge inspiring person. I mean, I could sit in a room with her every day, 7 days a week, soak in all of that by osmosis. But yes, so it is a privilege and a wonderful opportunity and a gift to be part of EntreMD. And I do feel like I do have a seat at the table now. And
That's
you know,
good.
people can take away what they feel they need, they can get from me, and I have to feel that and believe that what I can share for others might resonate with someone who might just be starting out just like I did a year ago. And just believing in the process. I know that sounds so you know, so basic,
Mhm.
but it really is about believing in the process and believing in the people that make up this program and are part of this program. And after a while, your comfort level gets to be so high that you can go to subsequent in-person events and feel extremely welcomed and comfortable as if you had been there for all of your life. So
Yeah.
that is a place mentally, emotionally, professionally, and personally that I absolutely love and enjoy and am so thankful for.
Yeah, that has to be, like, one of my favorite things about the business school itself, the community. Like, when, like, there are events and I'll just sit and I'll just watch everybody just talking to each other, like, nobody's left out, so everyone definitely does have, a seat at the table, which is absolutely amazing. And then so you mentioned resources, and so I'm just gonna divert a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
And I know that you guys do, like, a book of the month, right? So what has been your favorite book so far that you've read?
Yeah, I actually the last one we read was this The Power of Storytelling. Kendra Hall, I believe that's the author. I'm a big story person, and because as a physician for females, one of the blessings and privileges I've had over the years is listening to women's stories.
Mhm.
And that book very much resonated with me about how I can utilize that kind of information, that kind of emotional empowerment for patients, as well as just from a wider community, and as a means to, you know, improve my visibility, have a visibility that's impactful, and also extending the space for women in general. That's definitely very important to me and my mission. So that book was one of the most powerful ones for me. Certainly, one of the ones in the very beginning that I read was learning how to eat. Eat your frogs, or
Eat
gosh,
that
what's
frog up.
what? Yeah. So
By
that one
Brian Tracy, yeah.
yeah. So that one is also just a one that just kind of like hits you over the head, like duh. Just the concept of organization and
Mhm.
lists and learning how to really tackle the things that we need to, and how to prioritize that, and you know, the kind of resistance that is built up around getting tasks done. So that book was also very impactful for me. So yeah, I felt like every book was very was very had an impression on me, but those two
Mhm.
especially. Yes.
Okay. And so based off of, Eat That Frog, there's a saying that you guys have is like, I eat frogs all day, every day, and then twice on Sunday. So we do have a
Absolutely.
merch piece for that. So if you want that, you can scan the QR code. But I think that's also one of
Oh,
my favorite
here.
ones as well, just because that's how like my mom started us off where, you have things, you tackle the harder stuff first,
Yeah.
and then you go down to the easier things. And so especially when I,
Yeah.
moved to, like, full-time college schoolwork, I would do the easier assignments first, but then the day was,
Yeah.
due, I would have to start doing the hard assignments, and it would take me all day. And so, like, I think I had an interview
Yes.
with someone, and they mentioned it, and I was like, "Yo, I'm not practicing what I'm teaching," so I had to go back and had to
Yeah.
correct myself, but yeah.
Always. Oh, it's always a work in
Mhm.
progress, right? I mean, even as we get older, it's even harder as you get older because you develop bad
Yeah.
habits that you have to
Mhm.
break. So, but that book was really something that made me really look at organization
Mhm.
differently. It's like you said, it's tackling the things that are easiest or hardest depending on what's really more
Mhm.
important. But yeah, that I love that book, and I think that's a book that can be read
Time and time
time and
again,
time
yeah.
again.
One
So
of
yeah,
those books that you can read no matter how many times and still get something out of it. Yeah,
absolutely,
that's good.
absolutely.
Okay, and so next question is, what was your business like before you joined the school? And then what are the biggest tangible wins you've seen since joining?
Yeah, I my business in the past as a traditional healthcare practice was very much insurance based, and so you see a certain amount of patients. Uh, you know what the insurance companies are going to pay you relatively within scale, and a lot of that for me felt like, well, if I do the numbers, this is how many patients I have to see, or at the time, this is how many patients I have to deliver, and this is the kind of revenue I can expect every month. And for me, after a while, the realization was, I'm doing this for somebody else's bottom line, and not necessarily my
Mhm,
own. And it was really a volume game where we had to see much more volume to really get to the bottom line every month. And one can get very comfortable in that, oh, if I just see my 30 patients a day, here are my benchmarks. This is what I know I'll make a month. But the administrative burden being in that kind of practice, chasing all the pennies from the insurance companies, and then realizing after a while, like 30 patients a day, 5 days a week is hard, is difficult, especially for someone like myself who was solo.
mhm,
I was spending a lot less time with my family. I was, coming home late, working on the weekends in ways that, again, taking more time away from my personal life. And then after a while, it just got to the point where, like, why am I doing all of this and who is it for?
mhm,
Um, I pride myself in having given really good patient care, and I'm thankful all my outcomes were good and positive. And after 18 years of being in practice, I've developed a lot of great patient relationships that have followed me all these years. So the benefits of all of that certainly are there. But as of the last few years, and I say 2022 was really that pivotal year for
mhm,
me, was finally just taking it back into my own hands financially, where I didn't want to see 30 patients a day. Certainly getting older and through my midlife transitions, seeing 30 patients a day was difficult for me. And I had to figure out a way to really make it all make sense. But I think it was really, at the end of the day, about autonomy, like what was really truly financial autonomy. So I made a huge leap and sent out a letter to my patient base about 6 months ahead of time, telling them that I was going to switch up the
mhm,
approach. And it was scary, that date came, and uh, thankfully the patients that really stuck by me continued to see me in the practice despite the change in the payment approach. The first couple of months were a little tricky, just waiting for the schedule to kind of fill up a little bit better. But I had to believe that this was going to be the right approach for me to maintain even more autonomy for myself and to really call my own shots and to see less patients and to give them more time that they deserved. So that have been those things have been precious for me in terms of having made that change. So, did I take a hit financially? Yes, of course. That steady stream of insurance-based pay wasn't there, but over time, I had to believe that things would get better. I had to put in the work, but certainly in the last year, having been part of the EntreMD program and having the tools to think and do differently, I'm not as afraid, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. Like, even though the work is still very hard and I have to show up every day to, to do the work, it doesn't seem as daunting and it doesn't seem as scary, even if I hit a valley. Right. So, I feel very fortunate that I've been able to put a lot of the tools in practice and listening to the principles and putting in the effort and showing up every day to do the work. I feel like the last year has been another year of growth for me. Visibility is better. My personal life is better. My time, I think, is better managed. And while the numbers might not be sky high like I would like them to be, I just feel that the gift of real, true autonomy is something that's very, very important for me. And, as long as I can stay healthy and I can put, all the effort in, I'm looking forward to all the years that I can still do this on my own
Yes,
terms.
that's good, that's good. And so,
Yeah.
we talked about tangible, so what are some of the intangible wins that you've seen?
It's mindset. I think one of the most impactful principles that your mom teaches is mindset, and how do we change that? And at first I thought, okay, I got to get into a business mindset. But it really turned into a mindset of thinking beyond ourselves.
Yeah.
And that is a concept that I've really had to take some time with, because uh, it really impacted all areas of my life: personal, professional, emotional, spiritual, all of those things. And I think it's really about believing in the idea that if we think outside the box and we believe in what we are gifted with, and we understand our why and the mission, opportunities are all out there for us
Everywhere,
to
yeah.
take. And that is something that I think we continuously learn how to do. But I have to say, this last year of rethinking, changing the mindset for myself has been something that has influenced every part of my life in general. And so it
Mhm.
feels different to enter this stage of life for me. I'm in my 50s. I'm not going to tell you my grandma age, but I'm in my 50s. There's a lot of bad habits that get formed as when we get to this stage. And so I think the last year has really forced me to ask myself, what is it that I want
Mhm.
and how do I want to get
Yeah.
there? And that, I think, is what the gift of this program is. One of the strongest gifts is learning mindset, a better mindset, because then it really permeates into all areas, and it just feels more
Mhm.
free. It's just, there's a freedom there, that kind of change brings.
That's really good. That's
So
amazing. Okay, and so because that's kind of this is, like, kinda what I'm all about, the merch pieces. So, what is your favorite piece of merch, and then why?
so I know that I have a limited edition of this special
Mhm.
mug, but coffee is very near and dear to me. It is literally the first thing I do every morning, I'm gifted with a cup of coffee at my bedside by the compliments of my husband, who brings me my cup every
That's
morning.
good.
And so it means a lot to me to have this kind of mug, because it's very sturdy, it's beautiful, it's big, but this messaging reminds me of the importance of showing up every day, having the right mindset, believing in myself, and taking advantage of every opportunity this program gives me and has given me. So, merch is important because it can be part of the RBI that we adopt every day, just to have those reminders about what we're doing, why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's good.
absolutely.
And so, yes, she does have a limited edition. So this is why you guys have to come for events, because the people who come for
You
events
have
get
to
the
come for
limited
events,
edition
yes.
things. But we still do have on the merch store different types of coffee mugs and everything, because I know everybody loves their coffee. I like coffee, I just like mine cold. So I'm a Starbucks and Dunkin' kind of person, not a Keurig at home type of thing. But yeah, so you can go to entremd.com/merch, or you can scan the QR code that is on your screen so that you can get your merch today. And then so if you're comfortable sharing, what is your dream life, dream business story? And so then why does the messaging on the cup resonate so deeply with you?
Yeah, dream life, dream business. I think some of us might even say they're one and the same. For most entrepreneurs, at least in my perspective, the business feels like it is part of your life, not in a bad way. There might be some people who say, "Oh my gosh, I live and breathe my business," but the business doesn't always have to be a negative aspect of the dream life. I mean, life includes everything, but it's really finding the balance, I think, among all of those aspects that make it the dream life. And I think, as far as the smaller component, or not smaller, but the component of a dream business, is the success that we define for it, and the freedom, hopefully, that it gives back to us, either financially, personally, professionally. So for me, the dream life, dream business is one and the same. And I hope that I have I I certainly have been blessed with 18 plus years of practice. I'm not looking to practice another 18 years, but I want to be able to do this for as many years as I have left, on my own
On your own terms,
terms.
yeah.
And as we've learned in the program, what kind of legacy do we want to leave this earth? What do we want? What kind of lessons and examples do I want to give my own children? And how does this continue to provide that freedom, emotionally, professionally, personally, by doing the work, and knowing that if the balance is all there and we are continuing to be fulfilled by what we do, it's all one and the
Yeah.
same.
That's good. That's really good. And then so lastly, well, not lastly, I think I have like two more questions, right? But what would you,
Okay.
say to someone who is, or what advice would you give to someone, who's struggling to join the business school? Like they're like, I don't know whether or not this is a good next step for me, or, things of that nature.
I think the most important thing is to ask ourselves is why we might be afraid. And I certainly was very hesitant to join the program. It was easy to do an online 7-day free program. There's no
Yeah.
obligation there. But when my husband registered, and I was like, oh gosh, is this for real? Am I really going to do this? And there was a lot of resistance. And so I think a lot of it has to be honest about what our fears are, about what we might actually learn. And I think there's a big reality check when we ask ourselves why we're
Yeah.
afraid. And I would say, if you're ready to take a leap into a life and a world that will open up doors, then this is the thing to do, is to register and and get into a program like EntreMD
Mhm.
to see what's possible.
Yeah.
So I think it's the first part is asking ourselves, what are we afraid of? And do we want it to be different? And if so, then take the leap.
Yeah.
It's best investment for
Yeah.
ourselves. And talk about self-care. This is probably one of the best things to do for self-care. So,
Yes, that's good. And I I think I was allowed to go over the questions. I think I had a call. It was either this Wednesday or last Wednesday, but it was about self care. And so it was like, all the different things and going through everything. And so I was like, yes, there are people who, join the business school and they get a lot out of it and they see their lives being completely transformed. And, they join in and the things that they learn, quote unquote, like they'll think it's, how do I say, like difficult, right? Or I see my mom explaining some things and I'm like, that's very simple. It makes a lot of sense. But I think, sometimes we tend to
yeah,
overcomplicate things. So we always think, yeah.
always.
So this really good. And so, if you have any more questions about, the business school or joining the business school, you can type EBS inside of the chat and then the team will, reach out to you and answer any questions that you may have. So then now my last question to you, right, is where can people find you? They want to get to know more about you, about your business, where can they
Oh,
find you?
yes. Yes, so I am very focused currently now on perimenopause, menopause, and midlife women's health care, and specialized gynecology care. And so I'm on Instagram, and I'm at the Dr. Tina. I also have a website that is also the same, thedrtina.com. And then also, I just started my YouTube channel, which is under the same pretext. Yes, of course, I finally
Congratulations.
took your mom's advice.
Yes.
My husband and I actually just started our first, our podcast
Oh, that's
together.
so
And
good.
so we have initiated that and launched that on YouTube. And so I'm across, and also on Facebook as well. So yes, it's exciting to have that kind of visibility. That's one of the principles of this program is learn how to become more
Yes, yes,
visible.
yes, yes.
Uh, but yes, so those are the ways to find me on social media. And of course, through those avenues, my contact information is there.
It's good. Okay, and then so because you mentioned visibility, I'm gonna stray again one more time. So Dr. Una she
Abs-
had the book, The Visibility Formula. What were your thoughts about the book?
oh gosh, how much of it's all on point. Like at first, I have to say that I was very resistant to
Mhm,
visibility. And there's fear there, right? There's because it's based on fear, not sounding professional enough, not sounding good enough, not looking good enough. Do I even know how to make a video? How do I edit all the things,
mhm.
right? All the things that make us afraid of being out there. But the one thing everyone says in this program is just
Yes.
start. Just start. Do it
Yes.
messy. It doesn't matter. I remember watching one of your mom's very early Facebook lives, and it is really remarkable about how much people evolve in this on the social media
Mhm,
platforms. And so yeah, so the book is on point, and I think that as long as we are just mentally not resistant to trying to get ourselves out there, again, the doors open so much more into what's possible if we just put ourselves out there.
mhm.
And so that book, gives some very clear instructions of how to do that. But I think the one thing that I've learned along the way is let go of the fear.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's good. Okay, and so that was my honestly, that wasn't even a question I had down. It's just you mentioned visibility.
It's
You had the
okay. It
book
was a
on
good book.
visibility. Yeah, so I just had to mention it. So you can I'll put the QR code back up, but if you would like to get the visibility formula book, I think you should get it. She thinks you should get it. Dr. Una definitely thinks you should get it.
Absolutely.
So you can scan the QR code. You can scan the QR code below, and I'll keep that up for a little bit. But thank you so much for this. I really appreciated this. I've had so much fun.
It was such
This
a
is
pleasure.
absolutely amazing. I loved so I think my favorite part probably about your story is your husband making sure you're the one in the business school, him signing you up for it and everything
Yeah.
and all of that. So I think that has
Yeah.
to be one of my favorite things that I've learned today. So Thank you so much for this. I had so much fun, and I will are you
Thank you
coming
for
for
the
the
opportunity.
retreat, October? Yes!
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
So that's when I'm getting my picture.
Not gonna
For all the doctors I've interviewed, anytime I see them, I'm getting a picture with them. Every single one of them, yes. So I will see you
Yay!
in October then. This is gonna be exciting. Yes.
Absolutely. And you are a wonderful, wonderful mini version of your
Thank
mother.
you.
And all the best to you, Cheta. And this was a very, very heartwarming interview, and I was happy to do it. Thank you for
Thank you
asking
so
me.
much. So I'll see